one of the things that what I like about Paul's letter to the Galatians, Paul sets up these little communities, and what happens is that he leaves and he goes to another community. When he comes back, sometimes he finds that they have fallen on the wrong course, or they have fallen back into an old way. And so today you have the reading, "Oh, stupid Galatians," the Galatians. Can you imagine if I said, "Oh, stupid Holy Trinity people"? That would not go over so well, right? But then he says, "How are you? Are you so stupid?" So anyway, it's obviously, if you're offended by now, maybe you should be, because he's being very strong. But his frustration, because what happens is that as he is preaching to the Gentiles and telling them that, by the preaching of the word, you have received the Spirit that comes from the cross of Jesus Christ, and you are now free, right? And then what happens is that people tend to fall away. In this particular situation, these Gentiles start listening to what we call the Judaizers. They're the people who kind of went in and said, you have to be circumcised, you have to follow the law. In other words, you have to be Jewish. And we already settled that you don't have to be, that the cross of Christ was a universal salvation, and all are free and from the law anyway. So he says, I want to learn only this from you. Did you receive the Spirit from the works of the law, or from the faith of what you have heard? And of course the answer is from the faith, not from the works of the law, because that was the Old Testament, right? That you had to fulfill all of the laws in order. So he's trying to tell them, are you falling for this again? Or, if there are the Judaizers coming in, they're sort of taking a couple of steps backwards now, where Christ has brought them forward through the preaching of the gospel. They tend to kind of fall back, and now they're reverting to an older way of life and the progress made. So as I was thinking about this, as we come to realize that in the spiritual life, or in the faith life, or in any kind of progress, we always talk about, it's 3 steps forward, 2 steps back, right? That as we sort of get on our road, sometimes we get a little off course, and we see that even in the early church. There's something within us that have this perfectionist kind of attitude that says, once we started on this journey, like a diet maybe, we must follow it completely all the time, straightforward, and if we fall back, that's it, we're messed up, we're stupid people, we're, and what we see even in the early church is that it takes a lot of work to always stay on track. Sometimes we get off track, and then we need the Spirit, the reading, to get back on track. And that's what life seems to be like, I think, for most people. Maybe you might have those type A personalities that once they make a decision, they never swerve from it. That's it. They're that focused. But I think we know that we make some of these ideas, and we hear the Spirit. Maybe we go on retreat. We gotta call ourselves back. We gotta listen to the Spirit to get ourselves back. But it's so easy to fall back to an older way of life, right? To a former way of life, especially if we've gone through a conversion. So we see this happening right in the church. We would have thought that, okay, so Christ came, he preached to these people, they became Christians, and then it was like smooth sailing all the way up until today. And it wasn't, right? Communities are communities. People have been people the way they've been for a long time now. And so sometimes we make our commitments, and we have to be reminded again and again and again. So St. Paul is reminding them again. It is not by works of the law. Don't fall back into that. It is by the gift of the preaching that you have the Savior Christ, right? And so it's not the same thing with all of us. So if you're finding yourself, Advent's coming, Lent's coming, we always use those opportunities to turn ourselves back. But we do sometimes, and maybe I'm just projecting, kind of beat ourselves up if we set ourselves on a course and it's supposed to be just smooth sailing from there on out. We hear in the gospel today, in the prayer, it's like be persistent. So it's all about the constant attention and persistence, even if we do fall back a little and maybe we gave up swearing, we don't like it when we do it, or we don't like it when we gossip. Our goal is always to kind of call ourselves back to what is good, what is right and holy, and be persistent on that way. even if it means sometimes we find ourselves kind of falling back to an old way. May Christ bring us forward again.